Giant Jacks Media. Got a great show for you today on Giant TV. I've got Bill Vick, who's a dynamic Vistage chair working with really great CEOs. And I've got Ross Hartmann, who is the founder of Kiingo AI expert, top Vistage speaker. We got together, got into the weeds on AI and how businesses are using it, how you can approach it. This is a great episode. You're going to want to check it out. Let's go jump in. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. Welcome to Giant TV. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. Really excited to have my guests here on today. I've got Bill Vick, who is an incredible Vistage chair in Northern California. Welcome, Bill.
Good morning, Paul. Great to see you.
Yeah, and I've got Ross Hartmann, who is the founder of Kiingo AI innovation expert, doing a lot with business owners and AI and innovation. We're going to hear from Ross. And so what I want to start off with here, Bill, is tell us what you're doing with Vistage there. You're building out your practice and maybe touch on some of the industry groups you're working with. What are you doing there?
You know, the key thing for our group and for Vistage in general is pick those CEOs that are lifelong learners that want to make their companies better. They want to make their companies better by making themselves better. If they're better, their company's better, the employees are happier, the community's better, all in all. The classic Vistage look, so we have a pretty diverse group. We have farmers, we have vineyards, we have builders, we have compensation experts, we have nonprofits. So across the board. And the thing I love about it is they being the CEOs are like sponges. They really want to know. They're reaching out. And the power of Vistage, of course, is they're sharing.
Yep.
So one individual may have a particular problem and then says, oh, I've dealt with this. Here's what I recommend. Here's what worked for me. So that's, for me, is a lot of fun. And then as we look at the subject matter for today, AI has become something that pops up, started last year. Now it's almost at every meeting. Well, this happened. I saw this and so forth.
Yeah. And I know you've got your thumb on the pulse of what's important for the leaders you're working with. AI is certainly one of them. And Bill, you have some open spots there. Who are you looking for?
Well, we're looking for, someone that, say, 5 million plus in revenue. Okay. Yep. Up to a billion even. We're looking for people in the North Bay, but it doesn't have to necessarily be the North Bay. It could be the Bay Area. I'd like to have some more manufacturers. I'd love to have some people that are involved in more technical work. We've got a lot of fundamental businesses, but I'd like some tech entrepreneurs would be great. The idea of, and then some more nonprofits would also be of interest.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, Bay Area, so you're north of San Francisco there, which Ross gets us into you and what is going on with AI. Maybe give us a little bit of a landscape there.
Yeah, I mean, it changes so quickly. So, first of all, I want to say is that this last year was the chat GPT moment, right?
Yeah.
To where we got our first introduction, or I guess the general populace got their first real introduction to what AI can do for generative AI. And when people first start to use it, they might think that, it's kind of interesting. It can write some poems and do some songs and such. But when you get access to the pro version of ChatGPT, you start using GPT-4, which is the more powerful model, and you start looking at how it can help with workflow automation, well, then you really start unlocking some incredible possibilities for businesses, because you start looking at all of the things that knowledge workers do on a day-to-day basis, and you look at some of those tasks that they do, you can see how GPT-4 can be used to help automate a lot of those rote tasks, essentially. Now, the other thing that we're seeing is in the last 3 or so days, or maybe the end of last week, the GPT store came out by OpenAI. And this is kind of an app store for AI in a sense, where you can customize a ChatGPT chatbot for your particular use case. So businesses can create customer service bots. They can create internal training bots, anything like that, incredibly easily. And then finally, I'll say that Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, gave us a little bit of a taste of what we might see this year, talking about GPT-5. He basically said that we are not ready. It is going to blow all of our minds, which I'm sure a lot of that is a little marketing speak.
Yeah,
but
a little hype.
I do also believe that we are going to see some incredible AI this year.
You know, I'm so fascinated about all of this because the sources of information are critical. Are they verified, bona fide, and so forth? Are they believable? And I find that a lot of people, myself included, oftentimes if you read it or see it, you default to believing it. And so you have to be very, very careful. And I'm sure that the next iterations of AI are going to have some sort of proof or check or whatever, some sort of validation on top of that. But to add to that, in Vistage, we have our own, we have networks within Vistage. We have builders, contractors, attorneys. We have all kinds of industry groups. And one we've done is a new network called AI. And we have like 45,000 executives around the world, and they're using it at different levels and in different ways. And they will post on a daily basis. Here's what I used that worked for me. I find it quite a powerful tool.
That's
It's
great.
incredibly powerful. That network, I've done a few videos. I've been fortunate enough to do a few videos for them, and it's such a great resource where you can really up your skills. And then the other thing is you can just ask people your AI questions in that community, and people are very helpful there.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah, well, and then Ross, one of the main things, and Bill, you can chime in here too, is that businesses, how to figure out where to start.
Yeah.
And in some of these discussions, what comes up a lot is there's so much going on, it just can be overwhelming. And I think what's great, Ross, about what you're doing and what every business needs is you got to have a blueprint, right? It's almost like an architect when you're building a house. You've got to look at something and have it. What can I do? And then you can start to build. Can you comment on that? Like, how did business get started?
Yeah, no, it's a really great point because there is so much here and it's moving so quickly. How do you know where to begin? So the first thing I recommend is for each CEO or any key executive to really get your 10 hours of AI in. And I just mean this personally. So I do recommend getting a ChatGPT Plus account. And the reason for that is you get access to the smarter model essentially. And when you get that, I encourage you to just play with it and start using it as a brainstorming partner, a problem-solving partner throughout your day. Summarizing emails, drafting emails, running more efficient meetings, creating agendas, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And by getting in those 10 hours, you can start to learn how it can really help you personally. And you'll also start to get an idea for what AI does well and what it doesn't do well. Okay. On top of that, you've got to become a little bit of a forensics analyst of your own company in the sense that you want to look at what are your folks doing today and what is taking a great amount of time.
Yeah.
And by doing that, their chances are that AI can assist you in anything that is digital in any way. So if it's knowledge work, if you can break it down into a specific task, chances are AI, maybe if not fully automate it, can assist you in making it more efficient.
Yep.
And then we also talk a little bit about having a champion in your organization. So if you do EOS or something, this is basically someone who's going to own the rock. You want to make sure somebody's going to own AI as an initiative so that it doesn't fall off. I mean, some companies will dabble with it a little bit and then, fires come up and they just put it aside. But it is incredibly important to your long-term competitive advantage to have an AI strategy, especially as we go forward this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see I've heard some comments before, some businesses, if they don't understand it or they, are waiting to see, some of the comment has been, well, AI is sort of a fringe thing for the business. It doesn't help with my core stuff. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. This came up in another session talking about AI, and that perplexed me. And Bill, you may think about this too, because like with the businesses that I'm involved in, I can just see 500 different applications for AI and innovation on not just fringe things, but core to the business. And Ross, you and I are talking about stuff for one of our businesses. But comment on that, Ross, is this is not a fringe thing, and right? I mean, it's businesses are getting in there with core initiatives.
Yeah, and I think some folks in the tech field might have a little bit of PTSD in thinking about Web3.
Yeah.
And we were all 2 years ago thinking that creating digital monkeys and selling them was going to add trillions to the economy. And so maybe they're thinking, maybe this isn't what
Yeah.
AI is going to do, or AI is going to follow that trajectory. So the first thing I'll say is that with AI, we're already seeing value. So it is adding value today. It's not something that's coming in the future. It's not some promise. It's something that you can make use of today. And then the second thing I'll say is that 2023 was kind of, in my opinion, the year of the demo, where you can see
Uh,
what the potential is with AI, and you could see what it can do if you're super tech savvy. 2024 is going to be the year of the builder. So now all of these things that we know are possible with AI are really going to start to creep into the software that you have access to already. And then new offerings are going to come onto the market where you can take advantage of those and start to automate different processes in your business. But I think, Paul, to your point, this is not going away. So you can,
no.
Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Meta, obviously OpenAI, they're all pouring billions of dollars into this technology. If nothing else, they're going to will this into existence. It is
Yeah.
not going away, and you can get value out of it today.
Like Copilot with Microsoft. I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite an incredible program. And I look at how do you use like the smartest person in your room, okay, which is theoretically what AI is, the smartest person in
Yeah.
the room. And you can do menial tasks, or maybe you can do strategic tasks, but you have to know how to turn on the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I mean, Microsoft obviously is fully in on this. And to your point, maybe the AI is the smartest one in the room, or maybe it will be by the end of this year. But the thing also is we still today need to, like you're saying, guide the AI. That's why it's called a co-pilot and not yet a
Pilot,
digital worker.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
someone that you have to learn a little bit about prompt engineering, and learn how to get the most out of the AI to get it to accomplish your task with the highest quality, basically.
Yeah, Ross, do you have like a basic curriculum or a basic recommendation for different levels of business, like scheduling, meetings, agendas, things of that nature that CEOs can use?
Yeah, as far as use cases, I have a 3 hour talk about use cases actually.
There you
And,
go.
and obviously there's the low-hanging fruit of sales and marketing and customer support. There's legal documents, there's reviewing, there's scheduling you can tie to your email, all those sorts of things. You can quite frankly just explain what your business is to GPT-4 and then ask it, how can large language models help me? And then it knows a little bit about itself, which is kind of interesting. The other thing, though, is if you want to learn prompt engineering, you want to learn how to speak to the AI to get the most out of it, I would recommend a website called learnprompting.org. You can also just,
Prompting.org.
yeah,
Okay.
learnprompting.org. And, you can also just go on the internet and look up prompt engineering, but you probably get a lot of influencers there.
Yeah.
But yes, you want to learn how to talk to the AI to get the most out of it.
Yeah, one of the things that intrigues me about what, we've talked about before is the AI brains embedded into a business. And well, I mean, just tell you on the case we're working on, and this is a great example of, launch a new business, inputs are coming in, people are filling out forms, and there's a human body right now as we launch this that is dividing up those forms because some forms have to go here, some forms have to go here, and where those forms go is that information is embedded in an application we're using at the firm. This is a law firm. And so we're looking at AI coming in and being able to look down, access the application we're using, determine where it needs to go, and then forward that. Can you talk about a little bit about the AI brain, Ross, in that side?
Yeah, so there are different kind of tiers that you can implement AI, and one of them is workflow automation that you can do through something like Zapier, for instance, where you can really put AI into a workflow that previously had to be pre-programmed, right? You
Yeah.
couldn't really just hand a form to a computer and say, "Can you make a determination as to where this goes?" No, you had to say, "Well, if it's got these fields, then it goes here, and if it's got these fields, then it goes there." Now you can just hand it to an AI and can make a decision. But an AI brain, and this is something that my company works on as well, is where you actually integrate AI into an organization's data. And it can tie into your OneDrive, your SharePoint, your Google Drive, whatever it is. Can even include your CRM, your ERP, your financial system. And as part of that, it can retrieve information. Uh, and there's this interesting stat from the International Data Corporation that up to 2.5 hours a day can be spent by the average knowledge worker just trying to find information.
Yeah.
So that's going into your email, trying to find what did that client say 4 weeks ago about this contract, or what's this letterhead 17 levels deep in our OneDrive. That time adds up, right? And so if you can have AI tied to your data, it can really reduce hours into minutes for retrieving information. And obviously that saves time and money. But then there's also capability unlocks where you can start doing things with AI when it's tied to your data that you couldn't otherwise. It can pull information from different areas and find new insights that you maybe wouldn't have seen.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Ross, do you have like you mentioned one website to go to about how large language models, how to ask prompting questions and so forth.
Yeah.
Do you have a recommended agenda of like read these 4 or 5 articles or take a look at this as a beginning point for people to learn how to really integrate with this?
It's a really good point. So I do recommend Learn Prompting because learnprompting.org, because it has a beginning and intermediate and advanced, and you can really get far with that. You don't really need to know too much of the technical theory behind this technology. We go into it a little bit as far as its strengths and weaknesses go. If you want to up your game, there's another website called promptingguide.ai, I believe it is.
Mhm.
And through that, you can learn more advanced techniques to where you can start getting AI to do math consistently. You can have AI do QCing. And then you may also just want to read a little bit about Zapier and how AI can be integrated into workflows.
Yeah, that math problem could work really well for high school students in algebra and so forth.
Okay, you don't, I mean, I'm sure you do know, but you can literally and I've seen this, you can take a picture of a textbook page and say, solve these math
No,
problems,
no,
and it
that's
will
interesting.
understand the problems and solve them and give them back to you just by taking a picture. I mean, we are
Oh
not
my goodness.
ready for what is coming, essentially.
It
Yeah.
is really truly. Do you have like a then we're getting a little bit in the weeds as we go into the prompting and so forth and so on. I
Yeah.
understand that, and most of the leaders and business owners are not going to get that deep into it. They might have someone on their staff do it, but do you have like a recommended like best practices, maybe that kind of thing?
Yeah, just what I know, obviously, and there are a few things you have to look out for. You have to look out for hallucinations, which is where the AI can make something up and pass it off as authoritative, so you don't know if that's real
I've
or
heard
not.
of that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one thing you should just understand from a tech perspective is that language models are just autocomplete machines. Now, there's a lot of people that would fight me on that, but truly they are just trained to predict the next word. And so essentially they are super fancy autocomplete machines. And what does that mean? That means that they want to answer your questions, even if they don't know the answer to them. So this is really where it's helpful to be a domain expert in the area so that you can identify when, quite frankly, the AI is lying to you, because the AI does not yet know what is true and what is false. It just knows what is most statistically likely to come next. So this gets very technical on how to guard against that. Just
Hmm.
really quickly, use a search engine for any facts that you need. Always verify the output of AI. And you can also use a process called self-consistency. So if you're asking a human a math problem and they give you some answer and you don't know if it's true, maybe you ask a couple other humans, and if they all get the same answer, then you're more confident in that answer. In the exact same way, if an AI gives you a response and you're not sure if it's true, well, you can ask different AIs the same question and see if you get a consistent answer, and that's called self-consensus. So
How
It
many
gets really
AI platforms are there out there? And there's quite a few, I understand already.
Yes. So there's Inflections Pi, which is much more trained to be like a conversational chatting friend. There's Anthropic's Claude. There is a company called Mistral. They have a one
Hmm.
called Mixtral. They have Mistral Medium. They have several. There's obviously OpenAI. There's Meta is putting out Llama, which is an open source. I should say Mistral is also open source. And then there's Google's Bard. Google's Gemini Pro came out last month. They're going to come out with, I think, called Gemini Ultra, which should be on par with GPT-4. This is only touching the smallest portion of what's available. For anyone who's super technical, you can go to Hugging Face, that's the website, and you can look up all the different models that are available, essentially. And then I'll also say these are just language models, right? So there's also images, there's also video, and there's audio. You can clone people's voices, you can create photorealistic images, you can now create some videos that I think are going to give um, Hollywood a little run for their money. We'll see. It's going to be,
Oh, I
we're going to
know.
get there in a
I've
few
heard,
years.
yeah, heard a little bit about that. It's sort of like walking into the Library of Congress and say, I've got this problem. What do you recommend?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
The reference room librarian is there and it's, a computer.
Yeah.
yeah, go have it. Well, I was going to say too, on LinkedIn, LinkedIn's got a platform called LinkedIn Learning.
Mm.
And if you go there, there's some great courses in there. I'm looking at them now. Prompting with ChatGPT, introduction to AI. What is generative AI? These are courses, free courses online you can take. So LinkedIn Learning is a
Yeah.
great resource for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, Vistage has in their AI network, they have a curriculum as well, gentlemen, that they recommend using and so forth. We had one example, and we do have webinars in Vistage on
Yep.
using AI about once a quarter. I think we've got one coming up in February or March. So I'll be putting out information on that as well.
Love it.
Yeah, and I want to say to everyone listening here, obviously we could talk for hours on this topic. There's so much going on. This sort of just a high level, how to think about these things. And Bill, for those listening, Bill has partnered with Ross to offer a complimentary AI strategy session. So wherever you're watching this video, because we live stream this everywhere, goes out there on LinkedIn, YouTube, all these places. Around this video, you can get connected to that. It's great. You get on a Zoom with Bill and Ross and get into your own business and how AI might impact you. And Ross will take a deeper dive with you and get some stuff to look at for your business. So check that out. It's around this video. I wanted to thank both of you for being here. This is great. And yeah, look forward to tracking the progress of all of this.
Yeah, kudos to you, Paul, for putting this together, Ross. You're a leader in this, and I'm very excited about the future and working together. So thanks so very much.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. Had a great time.